Okay, there we go. I'm just gonna pin myself. Okay, all right. So welcome, guys. So glad to see you all here. So this is class number 2 of our 3-class series on the clean, clear, peaceful heart. So let's start with a tune in. And so you can start by rubbing the palms together. And we're going to press the palms together at the heart center. And let's take an inhale and an exhale. Okay, let's inhale to begin. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Inhale deeply. Press the palms together, hold the breath, tip of the tongue to the roof of the mouth, focusing at the third eye. And exhale. Good job. Okay. Great. So we're talking about the heart space. I'll be honest, I was thinking about what to say today, and I almost felt like overwhelmed by how much there is to say about the heart space. And it really is because it's the master center in your physical body and your energetic body, where your infinite self meets your physical self. So, you know, from the 5 elements classes that we did, this idea of a layered experience, right? We've got ether, air, fire, water, and earth. And these elements all work together as like layers of existence for your soul to experience this physical form, right? And all of that kind of culminates at the heart center. It's where your access to your intuition is, it's where your access to your actual soul is, it's where you receive messages like a radio station. It's also where you can broadcast messages away from you that you want to. So the yogis teach that, you know, you can actually project your sound from all of your chakras. You can pick where you want to send it from. But when you send the frequency, when you send your projection from the heart space, it's the most powerful. It has the most penetrative capacity, right? So we have this phrase like, you know, speak from the heart or share from the heart, right? And the reason that that touches us is because it is the most potent, truth-filled, highest frequency messaging center, right? It's really hard to speak from the heart and say something that's harmful or hurtful in nature, right? Even if it's like a truth that has to be heard. When it comes from the heart, it's coded in a higher frequency, right? And that's what you want. Of course, it's very common, and a lot of us have the heart space um, with blockages in it, right? We have difficulty giving and receiving from the heart space, and you know that has to do with the complexities of human life. It has to do with traumas and pain and grief. Um, And because we hold all of that stuff here, right? And as we talked about in the last class, it's like the body can kind of armor itself, right? In this way. If you think about, for example, like young people, like teens, you'll notice that because they're still in this developmental place, especially young women, like you see a lot of them kind of just like walking around like this, right? And it's a protective mechanism. It's designed to sort of protect this space. And a lot of times it's like we we struggle to really truly give from our heart because we have a lot of fear in there, right? We have fear about being rejected, we have fear about being abandoned, we have fear of just not being seen or heard for our love, for our gifts. We have fear for not being accepted for the truest version of ourselves. And so that's why these heart clearing experiences, this yoga, this technology helps to give you a different experience of your heart space, which gives you a different experience of being in your physical body, and it gives you a different experience of you, right? What it's like to actually run that energy of your own authenticity through the system. And that's really exciting, and that's one of the reasons that I love this technology. A lot of times that fear of giving is a fear that if I give something, then I won't have that thing anymore, right? If I give my patience, if I give my time, if I give my energy, if I give my love, then there's this subconscious story oftentimes in there that somehow the thing that you gave is going to be lost, right? It's going to be gone. And of course, that's actually not how it works, right? The universe doesn't work like that. In fact, the more you give from that heart-centered place, not from a what am I going to get out of it, tit for tat kind of place, which is an easy, I think, thing to fall. That's a polarity to fall into, right? It's like, um, but yeah, that's not how that works, right? The universe gives more the more you give because the universe just responds to the frequency that you're sending out, right? So more is more in this case, but it has to come from here. And if it's not aligned, if the energy you're giving is not coming from here, it's coming from here. And then you've got that polarity, and you've got that inverted experience where what you do give is not returned, right? And then we fall into this pattern of overgiving or undergiving. The overgiver is, the typical stereotype of, for example, the woman who gives to her whole family, but then she doesn't realize how resentful she is inside about that, and she doesn't give anything to herself, right? And then the story she creates is like, I just keep giving, it's all on me, and nobody takes care of me, right? She's not actually giving from the heart. It doesn't mean that her giving doesn't matter and it's not well intended, but it's not projected from the correct place in her system such that she can be responded to by her environment in a matched frequency, right? So you could say she has blockages in her heart. She doesn't feel it's actually really safe to give, right? It's conditional. And then the undergiver, is sort of that pattern of like stonewalling and shutting down and retreating and not really trusting that when you open to share, that you'll be matched with a level of compassion and caring that you actually really want, right? And of course, the story with that is, you know, nobody cares, right? Nobody cares. It's not possible. Again, it's all on me. And all of that that's inverted story that's happening in the subconscious, right? And again, it's not the heart is not open. The heart doesn't trust. And I think we all have blockages here, so I don't think it's like, you know, if this then that, it's not. I think it's a continual process of just noticing where your blockages are, and just like loving them and knowing that they're there because they're just trying to protect you, right? And and that's okay. So the irony, or the maybe the beautiful inversion, is just love your blockages and then they just tend to melt away. So, and I just want to actually say one more thing about the sort of giving and taking dynamic in relationship. Um, so this is a bigger teaching that we'll probably do in a relationship based course at some point, but the basic teaching is that, so everybody has an aura, right? A magnetic field of energy. And just the same way that we all have different size of foot, right? You buy different shoe size. Everybody has a different size aura with a different quality, and that's perfect and that's right. But the reality is then when you get two people together, whether they're a couple, whether it's a boss and an employee, whether it's a parent and a child, although that one's a bit unique, so I'll put that to the side for a minute, or two friends, siblings, one person just by nature has a larger aura. It's not better than, it's just, it's just size, essentially. And so what that means is that the person with the larger aura is by nature the giver in that relationship. Now, it doesn't mean that they give without receiving, right? This is the law of giving and receiving. It goes like this, no matter what. When it's working well, when there's energy moving between two people, or you and your business, even, for example, then there is a flow, and it's not over under, right? It's equal, but it's different. Like both parties are just different in how they are engaging in that process. So the giver's job is to learn to open the heart to give from that free place, that free giving place, right? And to have enough caliber in the nervous system to handle any of the subconscious stories that want to butt up against that that you're being taken advantage of, that you don't have enough to give, that nobody cares, or whatever the thing is, right? And the receiver in that dynamic, because they have a different size aura, is their job is to learn to receive the gifts and the energy from the giver. And then what naturally happens is you start to get an orbit about it, right? So it's basically polarity of the same teaching, you see? So both parties have something to learn and experience from the dance around giving and receiving, which is a universal law, right? So it can that can give you a bit of a hint in terms of what your job is in that relationship. And if you don't know, it doesn't really matter, because ultimately it's the same teaching, like it's the same law that you're activating, and it comes back to the heart. That's where this all stems from, this energetic exchange. Um, yeah, what else do I want to say? Okay, let's do a little exercise and then let's do our yoga. Everybody's good? You can still hear me okay? Smiling? Okay, awesome. Thanks, guys. Okay, so let's just take a minute and drop down into the heart space before we do our meditations for today. And I invite you to just take a few breaths at your own pace. And let's just experience for a minute actually listening from the heart. By that I mean play around with this idea that your awareness can actually rest in your heart as much as it rests in anywhere else, which is we usually process information from our mind. But I'm inviting you to process from the heart for a minute. And if your heart was a flower, so this would be like fully closed, and then a flower that can open to 180 degrees like this, I want you to just check in with yourself and suss out, if you can, sort of what percentage or how open is that flower of your heart chakra. Like, just tell yourself, is it like 25% open, 50%, 100% would be like this. So just check with yourself where it feels like it is today. And then I want you to take a deep breath and send that pranic energy into the heart to give it a bit of a boost. And if you had no fear of rejection in there, what would you say or do in your life? If you had no fear of abandonment, who would you reach for? And how would you do that? If you had no fear of feelings of loss or grief, how would you connect with those that you love, either who are physically in bodies or not? And if you had no fear, what would you create for yourself and the people around you? So with that sentiment, we're gonna do a little bit of yoga, and I want you to just be cognizant of how this yoga invites you to put prana and mantra, which is sound, and breath, which is the prana, and movement and mudra, which is shape, right? All of those things work together, just like how the elements work together, to give you an opportunity to put energy into, in this case, the heart space, right? And to allow that energy to get into those little cracks and nooks and crannies that you don't even have to know what they are. You don't have to be mentally aware of what they are. Just invite the energy that's coming in to just get into those nooks and crannies and do some clearing for you. And that's the brilliance of this yoga, because it's adaptogenic, as we've talked about before, right? So it gives you what you need, right? Which might be different than other people who are taking this course, and that's cool. And you don't have to explain it. You don't have to know, right, what's happening in there. You just need to allow yourself to experience something. And that's a heart teaching in and of itself, right? To allow. That's a heart opening exercise in and of itself. Okay, perfect. So let's start with cat cow or spinal flex. If you're in a chair, you're gonna do spinal flex, right? Which looks like this. You're gonna sit tall. You're gonna have your hands on your knees or on your ankles if you're cross-legged, and you're gonna pull the chest forward and you're gonna round the chest back. So the action is coming from the heart space, right? Projecting forward and then rounding back. And your chin, I mean, it's gonna move a little bit because your spine is connected, but you're just gonna basically imagine that it's fairly parallel to the floor. So you're gonna inhale and you're gonna exhale. Like that. And you're gonna go at your own pace. And then those of us who are on a mat and we want to do cat cow on all fours, we're going to go onto our all fours. We're going to have the heels touching, and we're going to lift up and lift the chin up, the chest forward, and we're inhaling sat, and then we're exhaling nam as we round the spine up. Okay, so I'll do this with you, and we're going to just do it for 3 minutes. So get into position. Okay. Okay. Checking on sound again. Is that okay, guys? Yep, okay. Here we go. So inhaling sat, exhaling nam.
Guri ki beri pae kaj savariyan ho abdeyal manohana visariyan साध जना के संग भव जल तारियन साकत निंद दुष्ट किन माह बिदारियन जिस साहिब की टेक नानक मन माए जिस सिमरत सुख होए सगले दुख जाए राखे रखन हर आप
So
बारियन
letting the heart
गुरु की
center really
पैरी
lead the
पाए
motion
काज
and noticing even as
सवारियन
you
हो
curl back,
आप
how the back of
दयाल
the heart
मनोना
space is allowed to open.
विसारियन साध जना के संग भव जल तारियन साकत निंद दुष्ट किन माह बिदारियन जिस साहिब की टेक नानक मन माए जिस सिमरत सुख होए सगले दुख जाए राखे रखन हर आप बारियन गुरु की पैरी पाए काज सवारियन हो आप दयाल मनोहना विसारियन साध जना के संग भव जल तारियन साकत निंद दुष्ट किन माह बिदारियन जिस साहिब की टेक नानक मन माए जिस सिमरत सुख होए सगले दुख जाए राखे रखन हर आप बारियन गुरु की पैरी पाए काज सवारियन हो आप दयाल मनोहना विसारियन साध जना के संग भव जल तारियन साकत निंद दुष्ट किन माह बिदारियन जिस साहिब की टेक नानक मन माए जिस सिमरत सुख होए सगले दुख जाए राखे रखन हर आप बारियन गुरु की पैरी पाए काज सवारियन हो आप
Speed
दयाल
up just a
मनोहना
little bit and deepen
विसारियन
your breath.
साध जना के
1
संग
second.
भव जल
Really get that energy to move.
साकत निंद
Notice
दुष्ट
that heart
किन
space.
माह बिदारियन जिस साहिब की टेक नानक मन माए जिस सिमरत सुख होए सगले दुख जाए
Beautiful. Now inhale,
राखे
pulling
रखन
for the
हर
breath.
आप बारियन गुरु की पैरी
Exhale, curve the spine, pull the navel in toward the back. You got the air out.
साध जना के संग
Now come to neutral and inhale. And if you're on all fours, you're welcome to come down into child's pose. Your arms ahead of you, hands together, your forehead's on the floor. If you're sitting, just have a nice tall spine and rest for a moment. Just let that calibrate. Good for you. Well done. Okay, now we're going to do one of my favorite meditations, which I'm not sure if you've done with me before, but it's called Fists of Anger. And the reason that I love it so much is because it really gets the energy moving and it helps to shift the system to release any of the anger. And anger is a big one for blocked heart space. So what we're going to do is, if you're on a mat, you're going to come into rock pose, which is putting your heels under your sits bones, like you're sitting on your legs as such, right? If you're on a chair, you're just going to find a tall spine and maybe sit at the front of your chair if you're not already, because you're going to be moving your arms and you need space to do that. So the way this meditation goes is you're going to put your thumbs over to your Mercury mound, which is the pad beneath the pinky finger. And you're going to wrap the fingers around so you're making a fist, okay? And the motion is like a backstroke, if you know the backstroke for swimming. And the key is to come up in front of your navel point, right, which is down here, across, obviously in front of the heart space, and over your crown chakra. So what this is doing is you're actually cleansing these energetic centers. That's going to be the motion. Now the breath, yeah. So just do your best, right? Like this is a motion most of us don't normally do. So, I mean, I always like how it feels because it loosens me up. But if you have any shoulder things going on, just listen. Always listen to your body first. And by the way, I guess I can add that if you're ever, in discomfort when you're doing a meditation, you want to find that balance between, is it discomfort because I don't think I can go anymore, or is it discomfort because it's pain, like my body is physically, like you're injured or something like that. So you want to find that balance and play with that because you want to be able to push yourself a little bit to your window, but you don't want to injure yourself, right? So that's something you have to be mindful of with yourself. Okay, so the breath is going to be a heavy inhale and exhale of breath of fire, but with the mouth open. So it looks like this. So what I'm doing is I have a tall spine, so I'm allowing the energy to move, and I'm just pushing the air out, and it automatically comes back in. So and what you actually want to do is just find a rhythm in a way that you almost feel like you could just do it for a long time because you've got your own rhythmic breath, right? So let's do it all together just for a moment. Good, beautiful. Okay, so we're gonna put that together. Let's get our faster moving music going on here. Give us some energy. Okay, so the idea here is you're gonna actually bring up something that bothers you. This is the time and space to actually process something. So think about the things that are just bugging you lately. And here we go, 3 minutes. Don't hold back. Really think about the things that are pissing you off. Say it in your mind. This is your chance to get angry, right? This is the chance to say those things in your head that you would never say to anybody else. Like, just go for it. I'm gonna move that energy. Almost there. Just do your personal best. You're great. 20 more seconds. You're the giver. Beautiful. Now interlace the fingers, arms all the way up. Take a deep inhale. Fill the lungs. Now really stretch up. Close the eyes and allow all of it to just fade away. You're surrounded by beautiful white light. Exhale. Deeply inhale. Stretch up a little further. And just imagine that you're in the middle of a beautiful star, all this bright white light. Now exhale heavy. Inhale deeply one more time. Stretch up, beautiful white light. And exhale, relax the arms down and just let everything calibrate. Beautiful job. That's a really, really excellent heart opener. And the more you do that one, the more you start to notice shifts in really quickly around that. Okay, lovely. Okay, now we're gonna do what's called Ego Eradicator, which is a great meditation to shift the energy and get into the rhythmic pulse of your own system. So let's just talk about what that is for a second. And you can just shake out the legs for a minute. Okay, so one of the beautiful things about your heart is that it has its own, it creates the pulse, right? It creates the rhythm of you, right? So a lot of times what happens is that when we're struggling or when we're stuck in the not giving or the not receiving, we are not in tune with our own rhythm, our own pulse, right? So coming back to your own heart pulse is one way to ground into your own energy. Okay, and so the nice thing about breath of fire, which is what we're going to do a little bit more of here, we did open mouth. It's called O mouth breath was the one we just did. Breath of fire is the same thing, but our mouth is closed. So we're going to find that gentle, I know it sounds weird, but it is a gentle inhale and exhale in a rhythm, right? And it's what it has embedded in it, this breath, is the invitation to return to pulse. Okay, so that's kind of one of its beautiful functions. Now, it doesn't mean you have to match it to your heart pulse, but it's just, it's the energy of pulse. Okay, so let's just take a minute and practice that. So you're going to basically, again, do the same thing where you're going to push the air out with your diaphragm and just the air will naturally come back in, but this time we're only breathing through the nose. So it looks like this. And the trick with this is, again, to find that rhythm that feels like you could actually do that for a long time. And when you're new to it, it's going to feel a bit funny, but the more you do it, the more you're opening your diaphragm. And again, like this heart, your chest is a cavity for the heart space, right? Which means that at the bottom half of that cavity is your diaphragm. And that tightens up when we've got these blockages. So this is another opener because we're exercising that lower portion of the cavity that holds your heart space and your lungs, obviously. The lungs and the heart are like best friends. So when we hold stuff in the heart, the lungs have to deal with the repercussions of that, which is why lung issues like asthma and other lung issues oftentimes are very correlated with grief, right? Stuck energy of grief, things like that. Okay. So we're gonna put our arms up to about a 60-degree angle, and you can't see my hands, but they're gonna be in this position. Okay, so arms are up, elbows are taut, so you're not wobbly like this, like you have strong straight arms at a 60-degree. Okay, we're just gonna be here for 1 minute. It's not long. Okay, so here we go. Breath of fire. You have a tall spine and a slight chin lock. That's going to help you hold this position, okay? You can chant Sat Nam, Sat Nam, Sat Nam. That's going to help you focus the mind while you do this breath. Almost there, keep going. Now deeply inhale, you're going to bring the thumbs together above the head. Hold the breath. Arms are up tall. Exhale. Inhale again. And exhale the arms down like a big circle. Slowly bringing them down. You're bringing the energy through the aura. And then you're going to bring your arms down. You're going to touch the mat or your chair. And just ground the energy through your hands. Good job. Well done. Okay, we've got one more to go, and I'm really excited to do this one with you. It's so beautiful. It's called Meditation to Heal a Broken Heart. And I'm going to read to you from this book about what this meditation will do, because I find it interesting and fun. But as you guys know now, the truth is about Kundalini yoga is that you don't have to know what it does to get the benefit. So this is just my intellect that's curious and interested. It won't change what you get though from it. Okay. So this meditation is very relaxing if you understand it. The autonomic system will relax and your breath will automatically move toward a meditative pace to renew and relax your heart and mind. To heal the emotional wounds of the heart, we need to bring calm to the nerves that hold the wound. We know that a break in relationship, whether it be to others or to ourselves, which by the way is basically the definition of trauma, right? Has almost identical reactions in the nervous system and brain as a physical injury or loss of limb. This mudra, which means shape, creates balance. It generates a subtle pressure which adjusts the heart meridian along the little finger and outer forearm, activating the action nerve junction with the autonomic system to reset itself by keeping the forearms parallel to the ground. You'll see the shape in a minute. And involving the armpit reflexes. And finally, it uses the pranic influence of the middle finger and its Saturn and air qualities to quell residual emotional storms. So there's a lot encoded, right, in a shape. And when you match that to breath and mudra, or rather mantra, you get these major, almost like sacred geometry, right, activations in your aura. So that's why we do that. That's why we do this yoga. That's why it benefits us. And that's why it's so cool. Okay. So let me get our track ready. So I'm going to play the same track that we used / didn't hear very well last time, so you can really enjoy it. And we're going to be here. I'll show you in a second what we're going to do. Just bear with me for a sec. Okay, so sitting with a tall spine, either an easy pose, cross legs, or on a chair, and you're going to basically have a tall spine with a slight chin lock, which just means your chin is slightly in to create that nice long spine in the neck. Your eyes are going to be closed, but before you do that, you can look at me. Palms are going to be lightly touching, so not that pressure that we do, for example, when we tune in. It's just a light pressure, but your middle finger basically is in line with your third eye, okay? It's going to be up here like this. Your elbows are going to be up, so your forearms are parallel to the ground as much as possible. That's going to activate that nerve that he talked about in the junction, right? It's in here, right? So it's like this, okay? So tall spine, slight chin lock, eyes are closed. You're going to look up and in and look inside, and that's it. You're just going to breathe normally. And if you need help to stay focused, you can always chant Sat Nam, okay, mentally. Here we go. Don't have to be touching the head, by the way, for that's even the face. Not that one. Go into your heart. Might be noticing some discomfort. See if you can lengthen the spine and make sure your chin lock is there. That will help hold the posture. And remember that, I mean, unless you're in pain, which you should be mindful of, if it's discomfort that you can tolerate, that's the opening happening. That's the adjustment that's taking place. So just do your best. And if you need a break, that's fine. You can even just visualize yourself holding the posture, and that will also give you benefit. So go deeper into your heart space now. And breathe. Keep going just a little bit more. Great, keep going. We're building a deeper self-trust here, right? Building that deeper connection with the heart and reverence for the heart space. Deeply inhale and exhale. Inhale again. Exhale. Relax the breath. Bring the arms up above the head. Hands are lightly touching in that same mudra. Hold the arms up. Reach. Whole spine. Breathe. And rest the arms down. Beautiful. Nice job. Okay. Well done, everybody. So I'm just going to tell you a quick story before we end here. I so in 2021, I was having heart palpitations and like just a lot of heart stuff going on. So obviously I got checked out of the doctor as one would do, and I recommend you do that if you have that. All was well, but so I went to a heart clinic basically, right, to sort of have these assessments done, and it was really hard. I noticed when I walked into the clinic, it was really difficult to be in there. There was a lot of like chaotic energy, and as it can be in any healthcare system, right, or setting. um, but I think my system was picking up on a lot of information. Um, so I don't know if it was that night or a couple nights later, I had this very vivid dream that I went back to the clinic, and I had brought with me one of my teachers, who is a spiritual guide, and he arrived in my dream. He arrived at the clinic, and he just brought this like joyful feeling, and he just like had conversations with everybody in the clinic space in my dream. And what I realized when I woke up was that um or what I believe is that his energy was bringing a heart clearing. There's a reason that these folks, we were coming to the heart clinic because of karma, right? Karma's negative information, basically, and it shows up in different places. So it's almost like I had brought him back to this clinic, to those souls who were there and who needed some clearing. And that's kind of what happened in the dream. It was very powerful. One of the most powerful dreams I've ever had. So I just wanted to share that with you because it was related to the heart space. And I was so grateful. I woke up with such gratitude and like, honestly, a feeling I don't think I've ever had before. Like it was just like it was like a victory feeling, like something amazing had just happened, and I was a part of it, right? I had escorted him there. So and no surprise, and I'm not even joking. I had no symptoms after that. I had no heart palpitations. I didn't have that like tight feeling in my chest I was having. Um, so there you go. That's my story. I wanted to share with you. Thank you for being here. Let's end with one long sat, one short nam. Press the palms together and inhale. Sat nam. Sat nam. Thank you, everybody, for your practice. Thank you for being here. Thank you for those of you watching the recording. So appreciate you as well. Have an amazing day. I'll see you soon. Bye, guys. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye.